All right. Welcome back into Ben Talks Utah Hockey. I'm Ben, and we're going to talk some Utah hockey. We've got, on this episode, I'm going to talk the Utah Hockey Club Stars of the Week. This is for Week 10, so this will be the previous four games that we played this last week. Just for the sake of numbers and things, I'm not going to be including the first game of the back-to-back that was in Buffalo last week, but I am going to be including the 4-2 win versus the Flyers, the 5-4 loss versus the Wild in the shootout, the win versus the Avalanche, that 4-1 win, and the win versus the Sharks, that 4-3 win. So let's just get into it here. I'm going to go through and just give you, I think I've got 4 stars here. Typically in hockey, you do the 3 stars, but I thought the defenseman needed some love here. I've got 3 forwards and a defenseman. So we're going to do 4 stars this week. I think this could change. I think typically in future episodes, I think that I'm going to try to keep it to 3, but you know what? Tonight I was just taking notes and feeling a little more froggy. So we're going to go with the 4 stars of the week. 4 games, 4 stars. So we'll just bear with me here. We're going with 4 stars. So to start off, my first star for the last week has been Dylan Guenther. He had an assist versus the Flyers, 2 assists versus the Wild, 2 goals and 1 assist versus the Avalanche, and 1 goal versus the Sharks. Guenther's totaled 6 points in the last 4 games, and he's sitting atop of the Utah Hockey Club with 29 points to lead the team, 13 goals, 16 assists for a somewhat even spread of points. He's been distributing the puck well, finding spots where there are defensive breakdowns and taking his chances. He's playing well as of late, getting a ton of chances around the slot and kind of in those high slots to the dots areas. He's been getting a lot of chances from there. He's also leading the team in power play goals with 5 thus far on the campaign. He's got a great shooting percentage of 17.6% on 180 shots attempted this year. Look for Guenther to remain hot. Utah will need him to tally some points in the upcoming games before Christmas break. The extension that he signed in the offseason is starting to look great here. I think the GM knew what he was doing. He saw the potential in Guenther, and that extension's starting to look really good. It looks like Guenther could be maybe a 50, 60, 70 point getter here as he continues his career. So he's here to stay in Utah with that extension signed, and hopefully he's going to become that point per game type player down the road here, like I was just mentioning. He's a true sniper, and he's dangerous whenever he gets the puck close to the net. He can pick a corner. He can snipe it with the best of them. So it's just really exciting to see him kind of break out this year and have a really, really hot start to the year. So that's my first star of the week. I'll jump into my second one now. It's going to be Logan Cooley. No real surprise there. He's another young player for Utah that's just been playing well. I've been singing his praises since the year started. I just notice him every night. It's hard not to. So we'll start off. He's got a power play goal versus the Flyers. Didn't score anything versus the Wild. Didn't assist. Didn't really have much of a great game versus the Wild. More of a defensive game. Didn't get on the board offensively versus the Wild. 2 assists versus the Avs. 2 assists versus the Sharks. So Cooley's tallied 5 points in the last 4 games with a beauty of a power play goal versus the Flyers. He had a nice deke in the slot, in the crease. He just put it away. He just had a nice little head fake, pulled it to the backhand, and put the puck in the net on that power play goal versus the Flyers. I'm continually impressed by the talent that he shows offensively and defensively, like I've said. And I predict that this will be Cooley's breakout type season. If he can keep averaging points at this rate that he has been, especially in the last 4 games. His speed combined with his skill and his puck handling, it's only going to improve over time. And he's been getting a lot more opportunities on the first line of the power play as well. And I think that has been, he's been flourishing in that role. It's exciting to see him on the power play, and not only does he do it on the power play, he does it on the PK as well. So he's been killing penalties as well, and just a really good defensive center. He can put up, I think, if he puts up maybe 30 goals this year, and he's kind of got off to, I wouldn't say a slow start. He's third on the squad in points, but it would be nice to see him score just a little bit more. He's assisting a ton. I think he's got 19 assists. Yeah, 7 goals, 19 assists with a +12 rating. But he makes good things happen on the ice. Like I said, third on the team in points, so he's just behind Gunther and Keller. And he gets the star of the week for me, just purely based on the hustle, the grit, and the physical play of late. He's been mixing it up in corners. He's been taking penalties, but he's also been drawing penalties as well. So hasn't really been hurting the team too bad with taking too many penalties, because he is drawing penalties as well. He's at times, to me, he almost looks like he's not in control, because just his skating style is very, how would you say, it's very, it almost looks like a yard sale sometimes, and he's wiping his hair out of his face, but no, it's just fun to watch him play. Like, he's just all over the ice. So he makes my second star of the week. No surprise. Third one might be a surprise for y'all. I talked about him in a little bit in the last episode, but Michael Carcone. He got 1 goal versus the Sharks, 1 goal versus the Flyers, and assist versus the Wild. So 3 points in the last 4, and he's really brought energy to the fourth line. He's only played in 20 of the 30 games in the season so far, so he hasn't played in every single game. But he is averaging just shy of 11 minutes per game. And so he's still able to make an impact with not that many minutes played. Like I said, he's on that fourth line, but he's really been bringing energy to that line. He's quick, and he looks for his line mates in the high danger areas when he's pushing the play in the offensive zone. And he's, as of late, especially recently, like I said, in the last couple games, he's really been pushing the puck. He's been strong on the puck in the offensive zone, and he's been finding his guys in the slot, and they've been capitalizing for him. Stenlund had a nice goal off an assist from Carcone. So, he did have a goal in the previous week versus Vegas, but I'm not counting that for this week. But he has been a nice addition to that last roster spot on the forward line. And if he can continue to produce when the team needs to put a point up, Utah's probably going to try to solidify him, I think, before the trade deadline. So he's in a year where next year he'll be an unrestricted free agent. So I think depending on what Utah does as the season goes on, if they're going to be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline, if Carcone's been producing and Utah are sellers, which means, they're going to trade away a piece to try to get draft picks or something like that, I think Carcone might be on the short list for, his contract's going to be up, so he's going to be a free agent anyway, so he might be a short-term rental for a team that's looking to make a playoff push. We'll see. If Utah is making that playoff push themselves, then I think they're going to try to solidify him for at least another year. He's on the base salary for the league, so I think he's only making $775 a year. So, and he's at the end of his 2-year contract here this year. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Carcone as the season progresses, but I hope they keep him because I'm really liking that fourth line that they've got put together, that fourth line of forwards. And I hope he's liking playing in Utah. I think a lot of players coming over from that Arizona squad and making the transition, I think it was tough on a lot of guys. And just dealing with that organization in Arizona, I think this might hurt a few Arizona fans' feelings, but look, it's a new team. It's a new owner. Yes, they retained a ton of the Coyotes roster, but it's a new start in a new city, new owner, new building, new fan base. It's hard to be mad at any of that, and if you're still salty, I guess you're still salty, but let me tell you, I was in... Oh, boy. Sorry about that. Dogs are going crazy. Where was I at? So I think if you're still salty about Arizona not having a team, I get it, but you can't take anything from these guys now. I think let's just be real here. They're in a better place. Clearly the owner cares, and I hope that Utah can retain the players that they want to this year. So we'll see how it goes, but sorry for my little rant there. But Carcone, he makes my third star of the week, just playing with a lot of hustle, and he's been producing on that fourth line. It's really exciting to see. And for my fourth star, my defensive pick, it's going to be Ian Cole. He's got 1 assist versus Colorado, and he had 5 block shots that game, which was huge. He shut down Colorado very, very well from the defensive position there. And he's had 12 block shots in the last 4 games, and he's had 16. If you count the back-to-back, he's had 16 block shots in the past 5 games, which basically, like, get that guy an Iron Man suit, because he's just laying down in the slot and putting his body on the line for the team. Ian Cole doesn't often show up on the score sheet. Like I said, he just had that 1 assist versus Colorado, but his defensive play might as well count as goaltender assists if a stat like that could exist. He is tirelessly playing around 22 minutes a night, so over a third of the game, and he's an older defenseman, still logging the minutes at 35 years of age. So I think he has had to step into that role, as Utah has seen numerous injuries on the back end this far, and I think he'd be best suited on that kind of third line pairing, the penalty kill unit, if Utah had a full defensive roster that they felt confident with, like if they didn't have as many injuries as they've had this season on that back end. I think if he was playing less minutes per night, he'd be a little bit more fresh later on in games, and he'd have the ability to keep the legs under him on a nightly basis. And I think those back-to-backs have been challenging. We got another back-to-back coming up here, so we'll see. But I believe that what I was speaking to just now, it shows in his stats with a -2 rating. But like I said, he's been playing a ton of minutes, and Utah desperately needs that veteran defensive presence in their lineup. He's played crucial minutes, and he's made crucial defensive plays to help Utah win 3 of their last 4. So going forward, We'll see how his role changes when injured players like John Marino and maybe Maverick Lamoureux come back into the lineup. We'll see if they bring him back or they send him back down to Tucson. So, yeah, Ian Cole, he's just been he's been a solid rock back there, playing a ton of minutes at 35, and you just you like to see that he's really putting his body on the line for the boys every night. So he makes my fourth spot for Stars of the Week. So that being said, just real quickly, want to look ahead to the next 4 games coming up. There's 4 more games left before Christmas break. We've got the Canucks coming into town on Wednesday the 18th, and then we will be going to Minnesota to face the Wild on Friday the 20th in a Central Division rematch from last week. Hopefully, the Wild are a top team in the league right now, and the fact that we played them into an overtime and still got the point. I know that it was a home game, but regardless of that, it's a really important point to get. So if we can, I'd like to see him not take this next one against the Wild into overtime, but if we can get it done in the first 60 minutes, again, any points we can get versus these Central Division teams is going to be huge. So Wild on the 20th, then we start a back-to-back homestand. 2 games on 2 nights. We got the Ducks coming into town on the 22nd, and then the Stars coming into town on the 23rd. So Stars, Central Division matchup, Ducks, Pacific, still Western Conference. So Canucks as well, that first game on Wednesday. All Western Conference matchups here. So these next 4 games before going into that Christmas break, huge points to be had in these next 4. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited to, especially for that Minnesota Wild game. I'm excited to see what they can do on the road since they've been hot on the road. So we'll see what they can do. I will be doing a pregame show, postgame show for the Canucks game on the 18th. So look for an episode Monday or Tuesday, the 16th or the 17th for the pregame, and then postgame, it's going to be, we'll see. That's probably a 10 o'clock start for me here on the Pacific or on the Eastern time zone. So we'll see. We'll see how I feel after that game. It's 1 o'clock by the time it's over and I'm ready to record and I've got my notes done. So, and that's if it doesn't go into overtime. So we'll see there. But yeah, either way, look for the pre and post game coming up here. I'll be doing that for each game. So be looking the day before and the day after or the night after or the night of for that post game show. So this is Ben Talks Utah Hockey, and I appreciate you all listening. You can find me on YouTube, Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, almost anywhere you can find a podcast. I'm still trying to upload to other sites that I can share my feed to. So that's a work in progress. The software and the editing ability is still in progress here. If you haven't noticed, I'm doing all these on kind of one take, one shot. You hear my dogs barking in the background. I'm sorry. Right now, it's just not in my budget to have all the all the audio and recording stuff here. I do have a nice microphone. I've got some other stuff set up. So as the show keeps progressing here, I'm gonna do some upgrading. A couple of things will probably change with the show, but hopefully I can keep your attention. And if you've made it this far, I really do appreciate you listening. And yeah, let's get involved. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up, make a comment on a video or on a podcast. Like, your feedback, it really helps in the future. If there's questions you want me to answer or things that you're thinking that, maybe we could talk about on the show, email them to me. My email is bentalksutahhockey@gmail.com. Again, that's bentalksutahhockey@gmail.com. Email me a question. I'd love to answer questions that you guys have. Maybe you're a new hockey fan. You're just getting into watching hockey now that, Salt Lake has a team, and maybe you're from that Salt Lake area or that Idaho area, and you're not used to seeing hockey. You have questions, like I'd love to answer them. So again, hit me up on there. You can hit me up on Twitter or X. I believe my handle is BenTalksUtahHC on X. And then, yeah, I mean, or comment on my podcast, comment on my YouTube videos, whatever floats your boat. Really open there. But like I said, hopefully the quality of this podcast will continue to improve. Right now, it's kind of low budget, but I'm here. I'm taking a ton of notes. I'm doing a bunch of write-ups here, so I'm putting in the effort. But hopefully, like I said, over time, this quality of the podcast will continue to improve. We'll get some editing done, and hopefully, at some point, I know that this will likely turn into video as well. So once I can kind of get that set up, we'll go from there. But all that being said, again, if you made it this far and made it through my rambling, I appreciate you. Please tune in for my upcoming shows. Look for them. They're going to be almost daily. So look for my shows. I have a hard time not getting in here and recording something, and I have a lot of thoughts that I need to get written down and and talk about. So again, Ben Talks Utah Hockey. I enjoy doing this. It's been a long time in the making. I've been thinking about it all season, and I really wish I would have just started doing this sooner, because it just feels kind of good to do it. So I appreciate you listening, and please tune in to the next episode. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.